Let's catch everybody up on what went down this weekend. We'll do it next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5, a podcast that gets you caught up fast on the fantasy news and advice that you need to know. Follow and stream us on Spotify and anywhere else podcasts are found. Today is Monday, March 22nd. I am Frank Stanfield, joined by Scott White. And let's get things started with Shohei Ohtani, who was the starting pitcher for the Los Angeles Angels on Sunday, but was also the leadoff hitter, going 2 for 2 with a walk. Scott, is Shohei Ohtani about to break fantasy baseball?
And he's had a huge spring, so encouraging on both sides, especially at the plate. He reached base 3 times on Sundays, batting .636 now, with some really long home runs being hit by him. But really, the most amazing thing is just that he got to bat on the day he was pitching, which is not something he's been allowed to do before. In fact, in the past, they took him out of the lineup both the day before he pitched and the day after he pitched. Joe Madden didn't manage Shohei Ohtani back when we last saw him healthy like this, and he's saying they're going to kind of do away with those rules. Just play it by ear with Ohtani, see how he feels. And if they're to the point now where they're willing to let him hit even on days he started, I mean, as well as it went today. I told you the hitting. Pitching, he struck out 5, allowed 2 hits in 4 innings. So it didn't seem to hold him back on the mound. Was it 101? Yeah, I think this year might be the year finally for Ohtani to have that big breakthrough, and he should be flying up draft boards. I'm not sure where you end up using him more. I'm kind of thinking hitter at this point, but pitcher could be huge too.
The ADP for Ohtani is 174.2 on Fantasy Pros. How much are you willing to pull that up, Scott? Are you thinking inside the top 150 players?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yep. Definitely. Yeah, you got to remember, he's going to steal bases too as a hitter. If he's getting 500 plate appearances, you're talking 25 homers, 20 steals, maybe a 280 batting average. It could be huge.
Again, that is Shohei Ohtani with the Angels. Let's talk about another fun, exciting player that we thought was going to be around. That's Bobby Witt Jr. of the Kansas City Royals. He has been reassigned to low A ball. Scott, what does this do for, when do you think that we actually see Bobby Witt now that he's been reassigned to the minors?
So it's good news that it happened this early before, the big rush of drafts that are going to come next weekend. Because his value is moving up, understandably. But they're sending him to low A ball, a 20-year-old who hadn't played above rookie ball before. Like, this is not the case of a prospect who's going to be called up in late April, I don't think. I think he'd have to get through a few levels first. I think it's possible we don't see him in the majors this year at all. If I was ranking prospects to stash from the start of the year in the hope of them getting called up later, he'd be outside my top 5, Bobby Witt would, as much hype as he got this spring. Good chance we see him next year and maybe even this year, but I don't think it'll be in a matter of weeks.
Let's move over to the West Coast, and with the Dodgers, their manager, Dave Roberts, had this to say about their catcher, Will Smith, that he will start, quote, somewhere around 90 games. So, Scott, I know that you were already the low guy on Will Smith. Are you dropping him even further in your catcher rankings?
No, I was low on him already. I had him 7th at the position. I think ADP had him going 3rd at the position, and you understand why. Huge power he's shown, cut down on the strikeouts last year, good on-base guy. Definitely an elite profile there for Will Smith. It needs to be tested more, but the profile is there. But yeah, I worried about this from the beginning because just look at last year. Before the playoffs, they sat him every 3rd or 4th game, I would say. And they kind of handled Yasmani Grandal, a star-level catcher, similarly when he was there. So it doesn't surprise me. I wonder if it'll really be as few as 90 games as he starts, that Smith starts, as opposed to 110 or more, when push comes to shove. We'll see. But yeah, I don't think he should be the 3rd catcher off the board.
Let's just wrap up with this. James Paxton, our old friend, he's now reunited with the Seattle Mariners, made his spring debut on Sunday, 4 1/3, 2 hits, 1 earned, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, and apparently the velocity, the fastball, maxed out at 97 miles per hour. He averaged 92 miles per hour with that pitch last year. How excited are you about this start for Paxton?
Oh, very excited. I mean, he still has durability issues, but the thing is, you're going to get him at such a discount this year. I kind of worried at least that he was done because he had to settle for signing with a non-contender for $8 million. The Mariners, obviously, and that didn't seem like teams that were good, that could afford to pay him more, that needed him more, were optimistic if that's the way it ultimately went down. And he'd been pitching sim games, so he didn't really have any insight into how that was going for him. To see him strike out 8 of the first 16 batters he faces with the velocity way up. I mean, Paxton was a guy not many years ago we considered a borderline ace.
Yep. Again, Paxton, the ADP 213.8 according to Fantasy Pros, so you can get him with one of the last picks in your fantasy baseball drafts. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, your smart speakers, or anywhere else podcasts are found. And thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. This is your audio outlet for fantasy news and advice in just 5 minutes. If you enjoyed the pod, please leave a 5-star review on Apple. We'll be back again tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.